Hi, folks. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening from wherever you're joining in. This is Prithvi Raj, the community lead for the Litmus Kiosk project, and I'm glad to welcome you all to this Litmus Community Sync call for the month of November. And I hope you are all doing well and looking forward to this call. I mean, thanks for joining in from wherever you're joining in, and I'm excited as well to host you all for this community call. So, moving on with the agenda for today. As you can see my screen, we'll just introduce new members on call. I see Victor has joined us as a new member to this call. So Victor, perhaps I would request you to just unmute yourself and introduce yourself to the community, and then perhaps we will move ahead with the agenda.
Sure thing. Hi guys, I'm Victor. I come from Bloomberg. I work on our internal chaos platform service. Not sure why it's not integrated with Litmus Chaos, but that is what I do.
Awesome, Victor. Thanks a lot for joining in. I think it's a pleasure to have you here, and feel free to ask any questions you have related to Litmus or your progress with Litmus. And we look forward to have you in the community and see how you progress with your chaos engineering journey. So moving on, I think we'll be talking about the latest release. Udit will be covering the release notes and what exactly happened with the release. And then Amit Das, who's been a core contributor for Litmus, will be talking about the free form workflows and the advanced tune functionality for Litmus Chaos. And lastly, Vedant Shotria, he'll be covering what are the latest updates to the Litmus Chaos Center. So uh, I'll just allow folks to add themselves as attendees for today's call. I'll be sharing this HackMD page, which is the community notes, and you can add yourself as attendees. And I'll allow Udit to get started talking about the latest release and just give us a release note walkthrough.
Yeah, thanks, Prithvi. Hello, everyone. I'm just sharing my screen. Hopefully my screen is visible.
Yes, Udit.
Okay, all right. Welcome everyone. In this section, we will be discussing about in very brief, we will be discussing the new features and enhancement we added in Litmus 2.3. And we'll get started. We have added a support for IPv networking in Litmus, so that it could run on the clusters that are having a dual stack or only IPv6 family, IP family. So we have made some enhancements to support that, and now you can run the all Litmus Chaos Center components on the IPv6 clusters. And moving on, we have also added some retries. So during there was an issue some of the pods during its initial phase, it was unable to make QAPI server requests. So we have also added some retries, and I think that is another enhancement we added. Now we also, as you know, like from last couple of releases, we are focusing on the security image scanning, and so there was some issues in vulnerabilities in Puma binary, which was used inside the Litmus image, and we have resolved it by updating Puma binary to its latest version. So this makes sure that the experiment image is not containing any high vulnerabilities right now. So moving on, so we have added the network policy permissions. So there was a bug in Litmus admin RBAC. So Litmus admin RBAC is supposed to run all the experiments, and it should have a permission to run all the experiments, but the policy network pod and network partition experiment was recently added in the last release, and Litmus admin was yet to support that, and we have added that in this release. We have also removed the job name label from the helper pods. As you are aware, like for injecting the main chaos logic, our experiment pods used to launch a helper pod, and this was something which is not directly associated with the helper pod, and it was an extra thing that it was there, so it is now removed. We have also fixed some stress chaos experiment for PumbaLib. Like, as you know, we have PumbaLib for illustration purposes, and it's supposed at some restricted platforms. There were some issues regarding providing your own custom stress image to run with PumbaLib. So that was resolved in this release. We have also reordered the RBAC permissions. This permission is basically when you go to Hub, this permission is basically one-to-one mapping with the experiments, minimal permission for the experiments. Yeah, we have a minimal permissions. So this permission, we have reordered it, made it minimal if it is not, and yeah, that is all we added for every experiments. And also we have described the role of these permissions, like why it is required, where it is required, so that it would give a end user some idea like why it is required. Yeah, in form of comments. So, and now moving forward, we have some documentation updates for FAQs, PSP, and also Kyberno pod security policy. This is like experiment documentation. You can take a look from experiment documentation here. And another thing is, as you know, like in Litmus Python, we have recently added SDK supports, and so it needs some test cases to be added inside the repository to test itself. It's pod delete experiment, which we provided for PyRunner, from PyRunner. It means like Python runner. And so these were added, some README updation and refactors of all those repository was done for this Litmus Python. Then we also introduced chaos result tag annotations to the dashboard for Postgres. And the last but not least, we have added E2E enhancements. These are E2E, you must be aware for last few releases that we are working on Litmus E2E dashboards. And we are continuously enhancing it in every release. We have now given a card view. Earlier, it was not like that. We have added a card view for a better visualization. Also, some more enhancements are coming in, like dark mode and showing the logs of the experiments. We have also added all workflows to visualize all workflows at one place. And also we have nightly and manual workflows separately. So yeah, these are some enhancements that we are continuously making on dashboards. And probably with the next release, we will also have the logging thing added that would show you the exact logs of the test cases when you come to this screen. Yeah, that was a very brief introduction for 2.3. I think there are some Chaos Center enhancements that were made. I think Vedant or Amit would describe you, and I think that's all I have. So I want to just thanks everyone for contributing, making issues, and giving their suggestions for the enhancements. Thanks.
Thanks a lot, Udit. I mean, again, shout out to all the contributors who have been contributing to the project and helping out. If you have any questions about this release, we can have them. Or before we move to Amit, perhaps I'll allow Vedant to come in and talk about the updates to the Chaos Center as mentioned in the release notes and just give us a quick walkthrough.
Yeah, thanks, Prithvi. So am I audible?
Yes, Vedant, you are.
Okay. So hey everyone, this is Vedant, and I'm also a contributor at Litmus Chaos and software developer at Chaos Native. So today I will be taking you through the updates that we have done in the last release, this latest release of Chaos Center. So I'm just sharing my screen. Yeah, so I hope it is visible. So before moving forward with the updates, so I'm just going to give you a brief about the setup that I have. So I've currently deployed 2.3.0 version of Chaos Center, and this is deployed on a K3D cluster on my local machine. So in the current setup, I have deployed Chaos Center, that is cluster scope of 2.3.0 version, and there are two other different agents that are installed in the same clusters in the namespace scope. And as you can see, there is one agent that is in crash loop backoff. So I will let you know later, like why is it in crash loop backoff. So if you have been using Litmus portal, I would say Chaos Center, so you might be knowing that with the ongoing releases, we have been working more on the upgrade, smoothing the upgrade process, and optimizations for the Chaos Center. So the first update that is it is around the smoothing the upgrade process for the agents. So just taking you to the agent space. So with the previous releases, right? So if you have used 2.2.0, so as we know that upgrading the Chaos Center is as simple as Helm upgrade, and in case you are using the manifest, then you can do kubectl apply, right? But for the agents in the previous release, we gave functionality for upgrading that agent using litmusctl, right? So you can use litmusctl upgrade agent command to upgrade your agents manually, right? But like in case you have many number of agents connected to your control plane, and it might be difficult to upgrade all your agents with every release, even if it is a minor release or a patch release, right? So for upgrade, smoothing that process, what we have done is with this release to give you a relaxation around the upgrade part, what we have done is now you don't have to upgrade your agent whenever there is a minor release or the patch release. In case there is a major release, you will have to upgrade your agent, and if you are upgrading your control plane, because two different major versions are might not be compatible with each other. So currently that is the process we follow. Like if there are two different major versions, then you will have to upgrade your agent to the latest version of your Chaos Center. But with this release, at least in case there is a minor release and you have upgraded your control plane to that minor release, then you won't have to upgrade your agent plane to the same as well. So for example, as you can see, I have deployed the 2.3.0 version of Chaos Center, right? And I have one agent that is using the version 2.3.1, but that agent is in active state right now. Just to clear out here, like 2.3.1 version, right? So this is not actually the 2.3.1 version of agent plane, like the agent that is not yet there. But like just to show this process, I've just edited the config map of the agent plane. So like in N1 namespace, I have one agent that is this one, 2.3.1 version, and in N2 I have another I think in N1, right? Okay, in N1 I have the agent that is 2.2.0 based agent, and in N2 I have the agent that is 2.3.1 based. So if I have to show you the config maps that I have there, so in N1, right? So in N1 the version is currently 2.2.0. So as I already told you, right, now the control plane is 2.3.0 and the agent version is 2.2.0. So two different major versions are not compatible with each other. So in that case, your agent might not be able to communicate to your control plane. And just to check why is it not able to communicate with the control plane, so I can just show you the logs of that cluster, not cluster, agent. It's N1. Yeah, so as you can see, it is giving an error that is like cluster version mismatch, because it needed 2.3.x. So in case there is an minor version difference between the control plane and agent version, it should have worked. But because it is 2.2.0 and the control plane is 2.3.x, that's why it is not able to communicate to the control plane. But if you see, there is another agent that is 2.3.1, right? Now for that agent is deployed in N2 namespace, and just to show you the config map in that namespace, I'm just showing you the config map. So this version is now 2.3.1. So the agent plane is currently 2.3.1 with this for this agent. Now in that case, because it is only a minor version change, so that's why this agent is able to communicate to this control plane. That's why it is an active state. So with this, as you can see, right? So now in case there is a minor release or a patch release and you are upgrading your control plane to that release, right? Then you don't have to upgrade your agents also to that version. They will keep working as usual. So this was one relaxation that we provided with this release. And on the other part, so there are like we have been working on the optimization of the front end. So let me just show you. So in case you have used 2.2.0 and also not on the local machine but on the cloud provider, you might have noticed that it has been like with some of the releases, prior releases, it has been taking some of the time, like considerable time for loading the sign-in page and even the inside components, right? And that was like we were trying to debug that and working around that. So we found that the chunk size, one of the chunk size that we're getting here, right? So this was a main chunk and it was getting a huge size around 4 point something MB size. So that was a huge size, and that's why like to load that image onto the client browser and loading the same, that was taking a huge time. So we have been working on that optimization. So like we worked on the optimization of the components that we have in Litmus UI, because that's what we use for making all our components in Chaos Center. So we tried to optimize that. We have been working around that, and like currently, like with the optimizations that we have done till now, the size is like decreased from 4 point something to 1.5 MB. So this was optimization that we did in the front end, and this is still work in progress. This is not yet completed. We will try to decrease it more and more, optimize the code. So that is like yet in the work in progress. Now next thing that comes in is like introduction of some new features. I would say not new features, there are some changes that we did in the UX to allow like users to have more control over their workflows. So I'm just showing you like those updates. So yeah, I'm like we have added let me just go on to that screen. So if you see here, there is a option added for advanced option to tune workflow. So here you can like tune these options according to your needs, and these are this I would say this change in UX is made to to make the inputs that are like at the workflow level to be different from the inputs that are on the experimental level. So like around this, Amit will be like talking more about it. So we will just wait for it, right? And the next thing that is like upload functionality. So this was actually query from community, right? Because like previously with the 2.2.0, like till 2.2.0 release, we had a restriction that you can only run the workflows that are chaos workflows, right? But with this release, we have like removed restrictions to like to more extent. You can run like more generic workflows, but like along this also, like Amit will be giving you a demo around that. So yeah, let's wait for it. And other than that, so these were the updates around the Chaos Center, and there have been some bug fixes around front end as well as the GraphQL server, because now in our community now, yeah, like users are using the GraphQL server API and the authorization server API. So along that we got some issues, bugs and queries. So we have tried to fix those in front end as well as back end. So these are the updates on the Chaos Center. Now next update is around the E2E pipeline. So in this release, we have been working on enhancing the E2E pipeline. So in case you don't know, so there's a repo that is Litmus E2E, where we track all our E2E tests and pipeline, and like every test automation that we need. So here, as you can see, we are tracking all the issues. So for this release, like Dhananjay, so like he has been working with us as LFX mentee to enhance the Chaos Center pipeline by adding more tests and enhancing the test suite. So in case he's here, he can like unmute himself and introduce himself. I think he's not here. Okay, I will move forward with the updates. So like what changes that like enhancement that we have done in this like release. So like there have been updates around this workflow statistics as well as the test suits for the workflow scheduling. So if you see here, like we have a issue that is, we are using for tracking the E2 enhancement that we are doing for workflow scheduling. So previously, like before the release, like the tests that we have that were, I would say, for testing the scheduling of the workflows to the, front end wizard, but like, without making any changes to the workflow, but, like scheduling the things that we have like by default on the screen, right? But now, like with the test that we have with like added in this release, we have like, got generic functions for tuning the, tuning the workflow inputs like env variables and probes and experiments. So now we are able to, schedule, like we are now like able to automate the user experience of, scheduling the workflow from the chaos hub and scheduling the workflows like using the manifest and even the predefined workflows or on the recurring basis. And that are also like like being with the negative case or the positive case. And like currently the negative case and positive case are with respect to the existence of the target application. So if it is exist, then it is a positive application. If it doesn't exist, then it is a like negative like case. But yeah, like we will be extended more like with the generic functions that we have got till now, and also like recurring workflows that we had, so that is also covered with this release. And also like these were the tests that like we enhanced, but we also needed something to check the same on the cluster, right? Because we are testing the workflow scheduling, but we also wanted to check like whatever we are scheduling that is actually going on to the cluster and getting into the running state and giving us the final state as expected, right? So like that is also now covered with the current test. So like after scheduling the workflows like in the automated way, we are going on to the cluster and checking the existence of the workflow as well as the cron workflow, and then we are checking the final status of the workflow. So these are some things that are like covered with the tests of the workflow scheduling. The validation of logs for the workflow nodes is still in pipeline, that will be added most probably by the like next release. And also rerunning on non-recurring schedule, these are also, some workflow cloud operations that are being covered, and some of them are, still in pipeline. So these are some of the tests that we did on the scheduling part, and we also like extended the same test for checking the statistics also, because like as you can see, after scheduling the test like workflows, you can also come onto the like observability page and you can check the workflow statistics for each and every workflow, right? So we needed the test to validate these details and whatever the resiliency score and all things that we are showing here. So for that also we have been tracking the test, and most of them have been already covered. There are some still changes required, so that is also in like currently in the pipeline. So yeah, like these have been some improvements that we have done in Intui pipeline. And in case you want to know like how these test cases are running or a pipeline, you can always come and check the actions. And also in case you want to like see how like what are the steps that are getting followed for executing these tests, there are the links for the docs, so you can go ahead and check the test. So like along with the steps and expected output, all the like tests are already like documented here. So yeah, the same for the workflow scheduling. So yeah, so these were the updates from my side for Chaos Center. And yeah, this was all from my side. Thanks.
Thanks a lot, Vedant. Thanks a lot for updating us about the Chaos Center and all the updates with it. If we have any questions, perhaps anyone can unmute themselves and ask them. And if we don't have any questions, then perhaps I guess Victor has left us for a bit. He might have had some questions, but I would allow Amit to perhaps take the floor and just talk about his updates, so the he has done with workflows.
Yeah. Sure. Thanks, Prithvi. Let me probably share my screen. I hope my screen is visible.
Yes, Amit.
Yeah. So, hi everyone. I'm Amit Kumar Das, software developer at Chaos Native and a contributor to Litmus Chaos. So, I'll be going through some of the new features or enhancements that we have added with the 2.3.0 release. So, as Vedant mentioned, like we have some new features or like improvements in the workflow creation side. So, I'll just probably show a demo on the new features. So one of the features that we have added is the support of the free form workflows. So earlier, while uploading a workflow, we had some validations which checks whether the workflow consists of Chaos Engine or the Chaos Experiment manifest. So we have now removed these validations. So we support all the basic Argo workflows and all the free form Argo workflows. So let me try to upload one of the basic Argo workflow. So I'll just click here and I have a workflow here, which is a DAG workflow, and it consists a good amount of nodes. And I'll just try to create the workflow. So one thing in this step, if you upload a workflow, this is completely user specific. So we don't have the tune workflow option because the tune workflow option is basically tuning the different Chaos engines and Chaos experiments there. You can change the sequence of the experiments and everything. But since the upload feature now supports both the Chaos workflow and non-Chaos workflow, so we decided to remove the tune experiment workflow. It is only specific to only the Chaos workflows. So like moving on, we'll just try to schedule this workflow, and I'll just finish it off here. And if we go to visualize this workflow, we can see that like this workflow has started to execute, and there is no install Chaos experiment steps here. It's just a free form workflow with some multiple nodes. So yeah, these are also executing. And the good part is like we can also visualize or read the logs from these nodes as well. So let me like click on this echo node. So I can see the A item here, which is like here. And if I click the echo item here, it shows me the log of the C pod. So like it basically tells the name of the previous pods here. And like if I click the echo item here, it will show me the D item. So similarly, like I had another freeform Argo workflow. So like yeah, so like it consists like some good amount of nodes here, and like these are also rendering well with the Chaos Center, and it like supports different type of workflows as well. So and if I try, I can like view the logs of each of them. And so yeah, this is one of the feature like that we have added, the freeform support. And if I like show you the manifest here, so you can see like there are no Chaos engine or Chaos experiments present. It's just a regular Argo workflow with a spec which consists of all the templates and all the steps. And like yeah, we can see like the steps are named here and the tasks are named here. Yeah, so like without any Chaos experiment or Chaos engine, we can now run the workflows. And the changes are also made in the workflow, like display the workflow runs as well. Like currently we see in the Chaos workflows, we have all the resiliency score and number of experiments tab here. But since these are just a basic workflow, so like we don't have any information regarding the reliability. So these changes were made like as part of the enhancement. And one more feature that we added with Chaos Center is like there was some need in the workflow level to add some node selectors and tolerations. So we have also added them. So let me try to create a workflow with the basic pod delete experiment. So currently we see like we have the reverse schedule option, and there is one more like pod GC option, which I'll talk about later. So like there was some confusion with the users, like what's the use of reverse schedule? So basically reverse schedule reverts all the changes which are related to the Chaos experiment. Like it removes basically all the Chaos engines once the experiment is completed. So, but it like doesn't remove all the pods from the Chaos workflow. So what happens with the pod GC functionality is like once your workflow is completed or once your workflow is successful, it removes all the pods which are related to that particular workflow. So like there is no garbage pod or like persisting pods in your namespace or the cluster. So it's basically like a cleanup process. So as the name suggests, like cleanup chaos workflow pods. And with that, like we have some other options like the node selector. I can probably enable it and like provide the node name, like just for this case, I provide the name chaos center. And for the toleration, I have some different fields, the toleration fields like effect, key, operator value. I'll just provide some random value as of now. Value 1. Yeah. So like I have provided several functionalities or several parameters here, and these are all in workflow level. And when I save the changes and check it in my manifest, so I can see that these changes are also applied in my manifest as well. So the node selector I have provided was chaos center, and the toleration and all the details that are provided are present here. And the pod GC strategy is also available here. So just in case if I want to remove some of them, so I can either edit it here itself, or I can simply go to the advanced tune section and like switch this off. Like I want to remove the toleration part, so I can just turn it off and save the changes. And now I can like probably view the manifest again. So I can see that the toleration part is not available now. Only the node selector and the pod GC strategy is currently available. So I can like schedule my workflow now with these changes. And yeah, I can click finish, and yeah, the workflow started to execute. And if I view the manifest, I can see that the changes that I've applied on the workflow level are also available here. Yeah. So these were some of the new enhancement or feature we have added, and like some of them are from the community itself. They requested these features to be added in Chaos Center. And yeah, thanks everyone for all your feedbacks and for creating all the issues. So yeah, so these were some of the features, and yeah, that's probably pretty much from my side, Prithvi. I'll stop sharing my screen.
Thanks a lot, Amit. Thanks a lot for updating the community about all the updates that have been done with the chaos workflows and all that has been touched upon with the free form workflow and the advanced tuning functionality. With this, I believe we come to the end of the agenda items that we have in hand. And I would like to open the floor for any sort of discussion or questions. And post that, we can wrap up the community call. So if there are any questions or any updates, we can just talk about it, and then we can wrap up. I believe there's a question from Victor about integrations with Chaos Toolkit. Karthik, would you like to talk about it a little bit?
Sure. Hi, Victor. That's a great question. We've had some users of, I hope I'm audible.
Yes, Karthik, you are.
Okay. Just wanted to check. Yeah. So Victor, we have few members in the Litmus community who are using Chaos Toolkit as the Chaos injection framework, while Litmus orchestrates sort of the experiment. So the pods that are launched to carry out the chaos happen to run Chaos Toolkit, but you still have the Chaos experiment CRs and the Chaos engine CRs that are describing the applications that you want to do chaos against and what tunables you want to pass. That is interpreted as Chaos Toolkit parameters and executed. Intuit was using that in that mode initially, though I suspect there are a few other users of Litmus who are also using Chaos Toolkit in a similar way. So Litmus supports what is called as BYOC, bring your own chaos. It has a set of native experiments available off the shelf in Chaos Hub, which you might already know about. But in case you have your own experiments written up, something that is in-house, you already have a suite of tests using your own fault injection methodologies, or you might have other tools like Tumba or a Chaos Toolkit, which are already being used in your organization to do chaos. You can still integrate that with Litmus. You can get your tests orchestrated by Litmus. And when we say orchestration, we are talking about a few things, such as being able to control blast radius, being able to identify what application you want to do chaos against, the total chaos duration, ability to isolate chaos to specific workflows, specific workloads, parent workloads, deployments, and stateful sets. So to illustrate what I'm just talking about, let me share my screen and show a couple of slides. I hope that will explain what I'm trying to say better. Yeah, these are the slides. So you have two different type of integrations, external tool integrations into Litmus. One is a type 1 integration where you add a chaos library. So in Litmus experiments, there are chaos libraries that you can build. Basically, chaos library is the business logic for injecting the fault. So you can build your own. The ones that are inside the Litmus folder are all native to Litmus. But there are others that you can use. For example, there was an example for Powerful Seal, which I suppose is a little bit older now. So there might be a few issues there, which we might need to fix. But again, Tumba and Chaos Toolkit are examples that you can use for Chaos Lib. So you could actually refer to the specific Chaos Lib within an experiment CR and get your tests to inject chaos that way. Or the other option is for you to be able to construct a new experiment CR where not just the lib is different, but the entire image, entry point, default tunables are all different. You can have your own scripts. You can just wrap that into a chaos experiment CR and get it first orchestrated. There are some benefits in doing all this. For example, your experiments will be declaratively tuned, as in you will have a methodology to define your experiments in YAML files. You can put it in a Git repository and ensure that the event tracker service of Litmus is going to pick these CRs and apply them. So you can automate the execution of your experiments using Litmus. You can do some level of app selection. You can do parent level or workload level isolation. You can add annotations to your deployments or stateful sets and say that these are the applications you can target. So Litmus offers you multiple levels of filtering apps for chaos. Namespaces and labels are the first level. If you have applications sharing a common label and you still want to isolate further, you can use annotations. And you can also do some lifecycle management of these tests. So these are the integrations that you can do. There is a repository called Litmus Python, which was one of the earlier one of the repositories which received, or one of the parts of the project which received contribution from external folks. And it basically has Chaos Toolkit scripts present inside it. And it's put under all the BYOC folder. So you can see that some of these are Python scripts wrappers that are actually calling Chaos Toolkit experiment templates or methods. So this is the integration we have today. Some of it is not fully developed or polished, but nevertheless there are folks using it. So if there's something that it's of interest to you, if you'd like to take a closer look at it and develop this integration further, that would be great. Yep. Okay, that's a good question. There's a question on chat about do we see ourselves as competitor to Gremlin? Gremlin is a great tool. It's been around for some time, but I think there are some significant architectural differences, not just architectural differences, some philosophical differences between the way Gremlin is designed and works and Litmus is designed and works, though both are chaos engineering tools. I think Litmus is a little bit more grounds up Kubernetes native. And there is a notion of an entire end-to-end experiment in Litmus where we are trying to do some steady state validation using probes along with experiment and have some gates, pre-checks and post-checks. For example, you can create a pre-check that says you please proceed with the experiment only if this condition is met. Things like that. And also there is some amount of flexibility in being able to integrate your own tooling to do chaos. So it's as much a fault injection framework as it is a overall orchestration, chaos orchestration framework. So that way, I think its goals and its aspirations are slightly different to Gremlin. Having said that, there is a lot of commonality in terms of the scenarios that are supported by these tools. Scenarios on Kubernetes as well as on non-Kubernetes infrastructure. Of course, Gremlin is polished a little bit more in terms of their user experience, and we are definitely trying to get there. So I think that's a very quick snapshot of the differences. Cool. Okay. Yep, you're absolutely right. Just a couple of things to add to what you mentioned. K8s native steady state probes, gates and pre-checks, own tooling. There's another concept, and this is something that was introduced in 2.0, which we released in August. Prior to that, it was all about what you said, plus we added a few things from 2.0. One of the things we heard from the community was, this is good. We are able to store our manifests in Git repositories. There's a well-defined way, Kubernetes native way of defining experiments and all that, but I have a fleet of clusters to manage, and I don't want to be doing chaos setup on all these clusters individually. I want it to be more automated and seamless, single pane of glass management. Something that Gremlin also achieves with its SaaS platform, but we got that request for Litmus as well. So we created Chaos Center, which you just saw with demonstrating. So you can connect clusters or namespaces. So namespace is as much a chaos environment or a target environment as a full cluster, because you're used to seeing a lot of shared environments, multi-tenant environments today, maybe large staging clusters with different service owners operating in their own namespaces. So they want to do chaos within just that boundary. So Litmus supports adding namespace targets and cluster targets to its chaos center. And we have the option of running some agents in those namespaces or clusters to carry out the chaos. So that's something we introduced newly. And one of the differences in this model, when I say agents, that sort of rings a bell, because Gremlin also has agents. What we do with the Litmus agents is they are purely executing or relaying instructions that the GraphQL server sends them in terms of what chaos experiment to do, what chaos actions to do. And these chaos experiments trigger these helper pods. We discussed about helper pods in this chat at the beginning of this call. So these helper pods are brought up with the right set of privileges to carry out certain faults. Maybe you're entering some network namespace of a container, or entering the PID namespace and making some processes, things that need sort of privilege escalations. So we run them as transient pods that live for just the chaos duration, carry out the fault, and then are killed, or they just disappear. And we don't run highly privileged agents which are sort of perennially sitting there on the cluster. It has its benefits, that also we sort of took a different approach on that one. And Litmus also supports execution of chaos workflows. So it's good to sort of run faults singly, because that also sort of conforms with the principles of chaos, where you say control your blast radius, do one event at a time, one real world event at a time, simulate it and see what happens. So you understand exactly what is the impact of that particular fault. But we also wanted to sort of give the option for organizations which have matured in their resiliency practice and want to simulate multi-component failures or want to do complex faults, maybe have a node degradation and then you do a pod evict in another node, right? Some things like that. You want to combine faults because in production environments, things build up over a period of time. They're allowed to fester for a period of time before it sort of causes a combinatorial failure. So if you want to do that, it's allowed in Litmus. You can create workflows with parallel faults or faults in some kind of sequence. You can stitch them together. You could also use it to do some custom actions which are not chaos actions. I think Amit showed today in the demonstration that you can run some free-form workflows that necessarily do not have chaos steps in it. There may be just some action that you're doing. Maybe you're just generating some load, something that's low-key, something that's not really a fault. Or you're running some kind of a scanner, some kind of a tool to establish compliance on your cluster, something that it gives you, this sort of adds to your resiliency view. So Litmus allows you to create workflows that do these custom steps. So let's say you want to do some kind of a load using locust or K6 when you're doing your fault, because your fault's impact is heightened when you're running load. So there's something that you can do through Litmus. So these are a few things that we added recently to the platform, and that is also one way in which it sort of differentiates from some of the other tools and projects. Yeah, I hope that covers. Any other questions, thoughts, feedback?
Thanks, Karthik. Thanks a lot for answering all those questions. I think with this, we have come to the end of this community call. Thanks a lot, Victor, for those amazing questions. I think these help a lot in the community understanding what exactly is developing with the tool and how these questions can help the other community members as well. And with this, I would like to wrap up today's community call. Thanks a lot, everyone, for joining in. For more questions, feel free to be a part of the Slack channel and keep asking them. And we would love to answer them as well. So thanks a lot, folks, joining in, and hope you have a great day ahead and a great rest of the month. Thanks a lot.
Okay, thank you. Bye.